It's a garden party.
Good afternoon. I would like to welcome everyone today to the State Board of Education meeting for Tuesday, April 11th, 2023. I would like to ask Dr. David O'Shields if he would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
If you would please stand. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. As we begin, we do ask all of our board members and speakers to please speak directly into the microphone so that we can accurately transcribe everything for our minutes. That being said, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. So you have before you the minutes from our March 14th, 2023 meeting. Are there any objections to approving these minutes as presented? Okay. Hearing none, the minutes are approved by unanimous consent. You also have before you the agenda for today's meeting. Is there any objection to approving the agenda as presented for today's board meeting? Hearing none, the agenda is approved by unanimous consent. We would like to welcome all of those in attendance and all of those who are listening in as well, and we appreciate your interest in the work of the State Board of Education. We do have some visitors we would like to recognize. We have Mr. Jay Ragley from Advocates LLC. Is that correct? Wonderful. And then Thomas Gleaton from Chapin High School is here with us today. Thank you. We are glad to have you here. Also, if there is any news media present who did not sign in, please announce your name and company so we're aware. I think he's got on headphones. Hi. And you're from? Thank you. We are glad to have you here today as well, and thank you for your interest in the meeting. We do welcome each of you to the State Board meeting today. It is hard to believe we're in the second week of April. It just keeps flying by. Many of our school districts across the state either had spring break last week or this week. I know I speak on behalf of the board when I say how grateful we are for the commitment and dedication of all of our educators across the state. And hopefully they either have used some time to get some relaxing and relaxation and re-energizing themselves, or they're doing that this week. So we hope that everyone enjoys their spring break. But in saying that, we also want to acknowledge the work that all of the staff at the State Department does as well. So Superintendent Weaver, we are so appreciative of you and your team also. I don't believe you get a set spring break, but we do appreciate the support you provide our schools all the time. So that's just what I wanted to share for today's chair report. And now I'll turn it over to Superintendent Weaver for the superintendent report.
Well, thank you so much, Madam Chair. Today is actually an auspicious day for me because it is April the 11th, which marks the 90-day mark since I was officially sworn in as state superintendent. So it has been an incredible 3 months of listening, learning, and a lot of work. But we are so humbled and it's a joyful thing to be able to get up every day knowing that the work that we're doing is in support of the education mission of the state of South Carolina. Since my last report to you all, you may recall that I mentioned we were going to be putting out a notice for a learning cohort for some superintendents around the schools of innovation law that the General Assembly passed several years ago. We have gotten incredible response to that, are so excited about the cohort of superintendents who have raised their hands and said, I want to learn more. So we are really excited to get that learning kicked off here in the next little bit. We also, now that we've passed those first 3 months of listening and learning, are really starting to pivot here within the agency in terms of preparing for some capacity reviews that will really help us ensure that we are aligning staff and resources to their highest and best purpose here within the agency. agency. And to me, that highest and best purpose is really customer service. Of course, we are the regulatory agency for education in South Carolina, and so that mission never goes away. But at the same time, the real work is happening in the trenches in our classrooms every day. And so figuring out how we are aligning every single penny we can in this agency to ensure that we're delivering the very best customer service and support that we can to our educators in the field is a top priority of mine, and I know the staff at the agency share that. So we're excited to kick off those reviews. With the permission of our chair, I'm going to go ahead and bump up an agenda item at the end of our agenda to my report, and that would be the update on the state's role in Allendale and Williamsburg. So over the last few weeks, I should say, we have undertaken a pretty intensive review process in those districts, looking at the initial authorization that was used for the state to go into those districts, and really trying to take an objective look at the benchmarks that were set out by my predecessor in this job in those districts. And I'm very pleased to report to you all that in terms of compliance with federal grants, minimizing financial risk, stabilizing board governance, and then reducing turnover in key positions, we have made leaps and bounds of progress in each of these districts. I'd like to especially commend our Williamsburg district for the wonderful job that they are doing in terms of building capacity within their board and really professionalizing that experience. And in Allendale, we also have seen really incredible progress. There was not a staff vacancy going into the school year this year, and that speaks so highly of the leadership of Dr. Gilmore and the capacity that she has really built within the community in terms of engagement and support. So we are so encouraged by the progress that has been made, and we have begun conversations with stakeholders in those communities around what it's going to look like to do the final push of this work. And that, to me, is really the most intrinsic and important part of this work, which is moving the academic needle for students in these incredibly important districts. And as I look at the charge that the General Assembly has given the State Department of Education, a charge that has strengthened within the last year in terms of our ability and mandate and fiduciary obligation to intervene in districts is something that I take very seriously, and it is something that at the end of the day, we do all that we do in this education realm because we believe students can learn. I believe that every student in every community has the capacity to reach their full God-given potential if we give them the tools to do it. And so we are going to be bringing resources to bear as an agency to really invest in the professional capacity of the teachers and administrators who are on the ground there in those districts. I'm really very excited to see these districts become what I believe is a proving ground that poverty in South Carolina can be a challenge, but it's not an excuse. And so we will have some intensive on-the-ground review that is continuing over the next few weeks, led by our Deputy Superintendent, Matthew Ferguson, as well as some outside folks that we are going to be bringing in to help build and bolster our capacity as an agency in this work that we do in the district. And I'm so incredibly grateful to Ms. Mack for her ongoing commitment to this work and the professionalism that she brings to the job that she does in these districts and in our other schools around the state every single day. So I'm very excited about this work. I think that this is the launching pad of something that is going to be a great opportunity going forward for us to really support schools in new and more intensive ways. And so that's the brief update on Allendale and Williamsburg. And then the last thing that I wanted to present to you all was just a snapshot of where we are in the state budget process. So the state budget has passed out of the Senate Finance Committee. The Senate will be taking up that budget not this week, but next week. And I'm really pleased that to date, several of the significant priorities that I've mentioned to you all in the past remain in that budget. So we are going to, under this current version, continue to see that $2,500 increase in every pay cell of the state minimum state teacher salary schedule. There is $120 million that has been included in a capital funding for schools program And 20 million of that has been specifically designated for school safety upgrades, which is something that obviously is critical to all of us. If our students and teachers aren't safe, nothing else matters. And so we're going to be very vigilant about that here at the State Department. And I'm excited to let you all know too that we are in the process of bringing on a new director for an Office of Safe Schools here within the department. And the role of that office is going to be to liaise with our law enforcement agencies across the state and to work hand in hand with SLED and with the governor's office and all the other many stakeholders on the new Center for School Safety that they anticipate setting up in this year's budget. So it's clear that we have a lot of work to do, but that is obviously a top priority of this administration as well as of the governor and the General Assembly. And then the last thing that I'll mention in terms of the budget that I am very excited about is that they continue to provide robust support for our professional development in early literacy for our K-3 teachers. And I just wanted to end my report by providing you all with a report from the field. This is what really excites me about the work that we're doing. And so I'll read to you. On Friday, I shared some preliminary literacy growth results in second grade. We are seeing a huge increase in overall growth of students in second grade in comparison to the growth of second graders last year. There are 2 teachers in second grade. A veteran teacher was placed on an administrative plan due to concerns noted in the classroom. However, this teacher has embraced LETRS, and LETRS is the training that this will be able to provide, the money in the budget will be able to support. This teacher has participated in weekly PLC discussions with her teammates and third grade colleagues and was the first teacher in our school to complete Volume 1 of LETRS. In my professional opinion, LETRS has reignited a passion and has empowered this teacher by providing her with the knowledge and tools to teach the foundation of reading to her second graders. She is also influencing her grade level teammates. I also believe that LETRS is responsible for saving this teacher and consequently an entire grade level of students. This is quantitative and qualitative data that supports the impact LETRS and curriculum are having in one of our lowest, most challenged schools. We can't afford to lose teachers in these schools because there are no replacements. Instead, we have to leverage our greatest asset, which are those teachers who are invested and loyal to their community. I believe that without LETRS, we may have let go a teacher who is showing great potential in becoming a leader of reading at this school. And so this is the real world impact that the policy decisions that are being made across the street at the General Assembly and that are being made at this dais each month are having in our classrooms. And so I just want to say thank you to you. I want to say thank you to the General Assembly for their ongoing commitment to this literacy work. And with that, Madam Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you so much. Do any of our board members have any questions for Superintendent Weaver? Okay, hearing none, thank you. That was,
ma'am.
you got me all excited, I tell you. It is such wonderful news to hear all of the great things that you shared. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
I would like to next recognize Mr. John Tyler for the parliamentarian report.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and anything that involves Robert's Rules of Orders is no less exciting. So far, I just want to take a moment in our parliamentarian comment today to mention and to recognize that for these first 90 days, as Superintendent Weaver has pointed out, we've not had a lot of extremely complex matters on the agenda. However, we anticipate those numbers to grow soon. And that's when Robert's rules become of great import to the body of work that this board does. And so rather than asking that you take the weekend to read all 716 pages, I just want to take a moment to make a comment, an update, a reminder here and there as to different ways that can help the efficiency of your meetings. We'll start with questions today. When you have a question, whether in committee or in the full board, please raise your hand. Please wait until you are recognized by the chair of the committee or of the full board. And then, and this one may seem odd, but then present your question to the chair, not to the speaker. And that will make our committee meetings and our full board meetings flow a little more efficiently, especially when we start to deal with some more complex matters. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tyler. We appreciate that. We do not have anyone signed up for public comment today, so we will now move on to our state board items and our committee reports. I will begin with a report from the Policy and Legislative Committee. We did meet this morning, and we had 2 items for approval in our committee meeting. Those included Lexington County School District 3 and York County School District 1's request for flexibility pursuant to the competency-based education district applications. Those were both approved in committee, and they were both approved to be placed on today's consent agenda. Does anyone have any questions regarding that report? Okay, then that does serve as a motion from our Policy and Legislative Committee, so it does not require a second. Is there any discussion? With no questions, then, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, wonderful, thank you. There was no meeting of the Educator Professions Committee today. I would like to recognize Mrs. Frierson to present the Standard Learning and Accountability Report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This morning, the Standards Learning and Accountability Committee did meet. We had 2 items for approval. The Personal Finance 1/2 unit course, standard approval, its first reading, and the recommendations for appointment to the 2023 review panel for instructional materials, teacher as researcher, professional development for short circle process improvement. And for information, we had 1 item, the 2023 review panel nominee recommendations.
All right, thank you for that report. Does anyone have any questions for Mrs. Frierson? All right, then that does serve as a motion from her committee for their report. It does not require a second. Is there any discussion? With no questions, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. I would like to recognize Mr. Walters to present the Educator Licensure Committee report today.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair, and as most of you know, you were here this morning because we kept you outside while we heard lots of cases. In fact, we had 15 cases that we heard this morning. 2 of those were suspensions for unprofessional conduct. 1 was a initial license case, which was approved. We had 7 cases for breach of contract. 4 cases resulted in public reprimands, and 1 was a revocation. And I'd just like to also point out that, compliment the Office of General Counsel. We've seen an increase in the number of cases that are coming to us. We also see that they're coming around faster. We had some this morning that they just received in February, and while affording due process to the people involved, they were still able to get them to us in a really timely manner. So I just want to commend them for that effort.
Thank you for that, and I know we all echo that sentiment as well, Mr. Walters, so thank you to the Office of General Counsel and all that you always do. The full board licensure committee did meet today, so we were able to ratify the cases that Mr. Walters just referred to. In our full board educator licensure meeting, we had 4 additional cases for consideration. That resulted in an application approved for educator certification, 2 suspensions, and 1 permanent revocation. That is a total of 19 cases that were resolved today. And again, we are so thankful to the Office of General Counsel for their help with that. You also have before you the consent agenda. It's been discussed and action items have been moved to that. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda today?
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Kreminger, for that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. O'Shields. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. We do have 2 additional items we will be reviewing today. You see these on your agenda listed as 1 and 2. First, we will have 1 item of business regarding a waiver request related to students participating in interscholastic activities. I would like to recognize Mr. John Tyler to share that waiver request with us today.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good afternoon again. Before you is a waiver request from the Abbeville County School District seeking the State Board of Education's approval for an athletic waiver pursuant to South Carolina Code, Section 5939-160C1A. By statute, the State Board of Education has the authority to waive a student's ineligibility to participate in interscholastic activities under certain circumstances. Specifically, SC Code 5939-160C1A states that a waiver may be granted when a written statement from a school district superintendent and athletic director has been received stating a student's ineligibility to participate in interscholastic activities is due to misinformation concerning eligibility requirements being provided by district personnel. It's my understanding that present with us today is someone from the district or perhaps a school to present the details of this request and to answer any questions that the board may have. Someone was supposed to be present.
All right.
Okay. Can I beg your indulgence for just a moment?
No, no
Let me-
problem. Well, so much for not having complex matters on the agenda, right? You know, once you said that, you already had jinxed it.
I know. I knocked on wood, but apparently no wood was harmed in the making of that product. I will place this at the discretion of the board. I'm happy to go on to the next item of the agenda. I am likewise happy to read the Abbeville County School District written request. I will note that the district was placed on notice of the importance of being present today to answer any questions. And so at the discretion of the board, I will either read and you all can vote as you so desire, or I will just simply move on to the next item.
Okay. I believe everyone has the information before them from the superintendent, the athletic director, and the principal. And it is similar to a situation we've had before. So does anyone have any objection with us moving forward, even though Abbeville is not present? I think, and I don't believe we've read those letters already. Does anyone have any question regarding a letter they read? Chance?
Madam Chair, not a question, but a comment.
Yes,
that,
please, Dr. Hanley.
You know, we've had, through the last few months, we've had several of these requests, and this is not the first one from Abbeville Schools.
Right.
And this appears to be a pattern of not very good counseling for their students. Now, we were assured last month
Right.
that that's going to be rectified, and so I would certainly hope that in the next academic year, we would not see any from Abbeville Schools. But but this is somewhat disappointing.
No, and I do agree with you, and I know the last time they were present, their superintendent talked about how they have different measures they put in place to prevent that in the future. And I believe it was the principal who referenced that now it's been added to the handbook as well. And I know one thing Dr. O'Shields and I've spoken about is just reminding all of our superintendents how important it is to make sure we are communicating those, especially when there's a change in any regulation with the high school league. But no, I appreciate you pointing that out because we definitely want to make sure that we are recognizing that. Any other questions or comments from board member?
Madam Chair, one of the things that I think we could do with the support of the State Department is having, as we have our superintendent meetings, is to have you stress so that it cannot be inferred or misinterpreted that, this is critical and these issues need to be abated as best they can and remediated.
Right.
But it gets problematic over time. And I think if you could meet, or someone would be willing to meet with the SCASA superintendents in a forum so that no one could say, oh, I didn't know about that.
Absolutely.
That would be
Absolutely.
wonderful. Okay, great. Any other questions or discussion? We would now see if we could entertain a motion for approval or denial of this request.
So moved.
Could you just state what your motion is, Mr. Harrington? I'm sorry.
I make a motion that we agree to waiver the requirement of this particular statute as it relates to Abbeville Community District and approve the waiver that they're requesting.
Thank you, Mr. Harrington. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Dr. O'Shields. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Tyler, and I believe we're going to jump right into the next one with you.
Yes, and before Quincy comes forward to present the next one, who I have verified is in the room. We have a graduation waiver request pursuant to Section 59.5.160. District 5 of Lexington and Richland has reached out to the State Department of Education, and they're seeking your approval of a graduation course requirement pursuant to this section of code. By statute, the State Board of Education has authority to waive certain courses when a child has moved to South Carolina during the child's 12th grade year. Specifically, SC Code Section 59.5.160A1 states that in order to facilitate the on-time graduation of children of families who have moved to South Carolina during the child's 12th grade year, the State Board of Education may waive specific courses required for graduation if those courses were not specifically required for graduation in the student's most recent state of residence. However, the State Board may not waive the number of courses required in ELA, math, and science. And Quincy Moore, that's the law addressing this. Quincy Moore, our Director of Career and Technology Education, will provide the board with the details of this request. Quincy.
Thank you, Dr. Moore, for presenting that.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. I'm very, very humbled to present this case to you today, and I'd like to say that Joe Eberlin is in the audience. He is the assistant principal at Dutch Fork High School, where the student has enrolled. And might I add that Joe is on spring break and is still here today, so Joe, thank you. So the school reached out to Anna Duvall. She is our team lead on the Student Transition Services side of our house, our department, and a counselor. And I can tell you that we looked every way we could to try and see if we could satisfy the computer science requirement. We reached out to the folks in our own office, the computer science folks, Andrew Cook and Dominic Sanders, and virtual, and just, we did our due diligence as well. I want you to know that. But not hearing from Mr. Tyler that you have the authority to do, I just want to give you some reasoning for why I believe this is what we need to do. The student enrolled in Dutch Fork High School on February the 13th, 2023. The student's mother kicked him out of the house in North Carolina when he turned 18. The student moved in with his sister, who lives in Irmo. And apparently, when we talked to the school, the mother had done the same thing to the sister when she had turned 18. The student moved from high school to high school in North Carolina every year, a very unstable life. The student enrolled as a McKinney-Vento student. The student transferred from South Lenoir High School in Deep Run, North Carolina, and North Carolina does not require a computer science credit for high school graduation. South Lenoir High School operates on a block schedule, so the student earned 3 out of the 4 credits for the first semester. The student was enrolled in English 4, a North Carolina math credit, 4, Spanish 2, and PE when he withdrew from South Lenoir High School. The student had previously earned ROTC credit to satisfy his PE graduation requirement. Dutch Fork High School operates on an AB year-long schedule. So the student is currently double-blocked in economics, personal finance, which I am happy about because we are now requiring that course, English 4, and probability and statistics in order to meet the seat time hours required for Carnegie units of credit. Dutch Fork High School explored various options to enroll the student into a computer science course, including Virtual SC and their online initial credit platform, but no computer science course options were available in this time frame. And just as a matter of coincidence, the student has earned 23 of the 24 and a half credits that he's attempted in his high school career despite this situation. So I hope you will waive the computer science requirement for this request.
Thank you so much for presenting that. And I tell you, I mean, even the additional information you provide adds such a story to just how important this is for this child and the impact his life and circumstances have had. Are there any questions or discussion?
And no, I agree with you, Madam Chair, that the additional information that is provided
Right.
in your briefing, as opposed to what we had in the written communication, makes this a much easier decision. It was not a hard decision to begin with, but this makes it easier.
And
Thank you,
Madam
Dr.
Chair,
Hanley.
I'd also like to say thank you to the administration at Dutch Fork. You have obviously, in the month of trying to acclimate him, you've done an incredible job, and I would like for that to be conveyed, at least from my stand, and I would assume from the entire board, of working for the benefit of the child and the student. And I would like that to be understood in for the state, of course, but the school made it happen.
Right. Thank you. We echo that, Dr. O'Shields. Yes, Ms. Frierson?
Madam Chair, I just want for clarity, he will have all 24 units because I thought I heard her say something about 23 and a half. And so I wanted to know, will he have everything that he needs?
Right. And
He
I think
will.
you and Ken
He,
speak-
Frierson, he had earned 23 of the 24 and a half that he's attempted, but he will earn everything for our graduation requirement with the exception of the computer science.
It's wonderful news, isn't it? All right, thank you. Any other questions? Yes, Mr. Harrington?
Madam Chair, I'd just like to ask, would it not make decisions like this easier if we had some kind of exit exam for graduation, where we'd know not just that somebody had exposure to courses, but that they understood what they had been taught and by assessing it?
Right. Well, and you know, at one point, we did have an exit exam, but would anyone like to speak to that from the State Department?
I mean, we do have the end-of-course test in the English, math, science, social studies. So we do have those 4, which is a federal mandate. I can speak
To that, and I
to
think
that.
Mr. Ferguson, I think, is about to jump in as well.
And I was just going to add too that there is legislation being considered around competency-based education, which would provide an opportunity and a pathway for students to demonstrate skills to earn course credit. So that would also be not exactly an exit exam, but it would be a way for students to earn credit through demonstrating skills and competencies rather than just sitting and earning seat time.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right. Hearing none, we will now entertain a motion regarding this request.
Motion to approve the waiver for the requirement of computer science.
Thank you, Dr. O'Shields. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Allison. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we do ask you to relay to the student that we are very excited for him and look forward to him being able to have his diploma. All right, next on our agenda, we had our updates regarding Allendale and Williamsburg, but as Superintendent Weaver shared, we've already had those updates. So that brings us to the end. I would like, regarding other business, we do ask all of our board members to please make sure you turn in your travel forms to Tracy before you leave today. One other thing I do want to mention, because I know not everyone always realizes it, but we thank you for all of your time and dedication as well, because we all know that you've been here all day in meetings throughout the day, and it's the preparation prior to those meetings, and that's what makes our full board meeting flow so easily, because of all the work you do ahead of time and all the work you do the day of. So we are very appreciative of that. I believe, though, there's no other business, so I would welcome a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.